Welcome back to Top 10 Archives. Today, we're delving into the chilling world of serial killers who remain at large. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our spine-chilling content. Number 10. The Long Island Serial Killer. Starting our list at number 10 is the Long Island Serial Killer. Active since the early 2010s, a serial killer has been dumping the bodies of sex workers along a remote stretch of beach on Long Island, New York. The killer, sometimes referred to as the Craigslist Ripper, is believed to have murdered at least 10 people. Each victim was strangled, and their bodies were meticulously wrapped in burlap sacks before being disposed of in the marshy terrain. The victims were discovered in Gilgo Beach, where the killer is believed to have communicated with them using burner phones. Despite the discovery of numerous victims and the high-profile nature of the case, the Long Island serial killer remains at large, striking fear in the hearts of residents and visitors alike. Number 9. The West Mesa Bone Collector. At number 9, we have the West Mesa Bone Collector. Active between 2010 and 2013, the remains of 11 women were discovered in the desolate outskirts of Albuquerque, New Mexico. The killer, dubbed the West Mesa Bone Collector, targeted prostitutes and drug users. The victims were found buried in shallow graves, and many had been pregnant at the time of their disappearance. The burial site was discovered in 2009 by a woman walking her dog who stumbled upon a human bone. After extensive excavations, the police uncovered a mass grave that revealed the killer's grim handiwork. Despite exhaustive investigations, the identity of the perpetrator remains a mystery, and no arrests have been made in connection with the case. The serial killer's ability to stay hidden has left the community feeling vulnerable and on edge. Number 8. The Highway 16 Killer. Coming in at number 8 is the Highway 16 Killer. Active since 2010, this Canadian serial killer has been targeting young Indigenous women along the Highway 16 corridor in British Columbia, known as the Highway of Tears. The killer is believed to have been responsible for at least 18 murders and several disappearances. Many of the victims were found along remote logging roads, far from the main highway. Despite increased awareness and calls for justice, the identity of the Highway 16 killer remains unknown, leaving the Indigenous community and their allies in a state of fear and outrage. The Canadian government has established a task force to investigate the cases and bring the perpetrator to justice, but the killer remains elusive. Number 7. The Baton Rouge Strangler. At number 7, we have the Baton Rouge Strangler. Active since 2011, this serial killer is believed to have murdered at least 8 women in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The victims, who were all sex workers, were found strangled and dumped in remote areas. The Baton Rouge Strangler is known for his brutal and methodical style, leaving no DNA or other evidence for the police to work with. As a result, the case remains unsolved, and the Baton Rouge Strangler continues to evade capture. In an attempt to find the killer, law enforcement has employed the use of advanced DNA technology and consulted with criminal profilers, but their efforts have yet to yield any concrete leads or suspects. The ongoing nature of the case has left the Baton Rouge community on high alert and in fear of the Strangler's next move. Number 6. The New Orleans Killer. Our number 6 spot goes to the New Orleans Killer. Active since 2012, this serial killer has been targeting homeless individuals and drug addicts in the city of New Orleans. The killer uses a variety of methods, including stabbings and blunt force trauma, to murder their victims. The bodies have often been found in abandoned buildings, adding to the eerie atmosphere surrounding the case. Despite an increased police presence and numerous investigations, the identity of the New Orleans Killer remains a mystery. The unsolved nature of these murders has left the city's most vulnerable residents in a constant state of fear, with many wondering when the killer might strike again. Number 5. The Santa Barbara Slasher. At number 5, we have the Santa Barbara Slasher. Active since 2015, this serial killer has targeted college students in the Santa Barbara area of California. The slasher is known for his gruesome method of killing, often dismembering his victims before disposing of their remains. In a particularly chilling twist, the killer has been known to send anonymous letters to the victims' families, detailing the horrific acts committed against their loved ones. Despite extensive efforts by law enforcement, including the formation of a special task force dedicated to solving the case. The Santa Barbara slasher's identity remains unknown, and the case has left the college community and local residents on high alert. Number 4. The I-45 Killer. Coming in at number 4 is the I-45 Killer. Active since 2010, this serial killer has been targeting young women along Interstate 45 in Texas. The killer typically abducts his victims from public places, such as shopping malls or bus stops, before brutally murdering them and dumping their bodies along the highway. The I-45 killer's ability to evade capture has left the communities along the I-45 corridor in a state of constant unease. The authorities have increased patrols and surveillance along the highway, hoping to catch the killer in the act, but so far, their efforts have been in vain. Number 3. The Dublin Ripper. Our number 3 spot goes to the chilling Dublin Ripper. Active since 2018, this Irish serial killer has been targeting sex workers in the city of Dublin. The Ripper's modus operandi involves abducting his victims, torturing them, and then dismembering their bodies before disposing of the remains. The gruesome nature of the crimes has led to widespread media attention and public outcry, with many demanding a swift resolution to the case. Despite the brutal nature of his crimes and extensive investigations by Irish authorities, the Dublin Ripper remains at large, terrorizing the streets of Dublin. Number 2. The Stockholm Stalker. At number 2, we have the sinister Stockholm Stalker. Active since 2016, this Swedish serial killer has been targeting young women in the city of Stockholm. The stalker is known for his chilling method of stalking his victims before abducting and killing them. He often sends taunting letters to the victims' families, adding to the sense of horror surrounding his crimes. The Swedish authorities have employed cutting-edge technology and enlisted the help of international experts in their pursuit of the stalker. But despite their efforts, he remains at large, leaving the people of Stockholm on edge. Number 1. The Perth Predator. Finally, at number 1, we have the terrifying Perth Predator. Active since 2010, this Australian serial killer has been targeting young men in the city of Perth. The Predator is known for his cunning and methodical approach, often selecting his victims carefully and observing them for weeks before striking. He has a penchant for using social media to track and study his victims, giving him an unnerving amount of knowledge about their daily routines and personal lives. Despite extensive efforts by Australian law enforcement, including the formation of a dedicated task force and cooperation with international experts, the Perth Predator remains at large, leaving the residents of Perth in a state of constant fear. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share your thoughts on these chilling cases in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to Top 10 Archives for more thrilling and mysterious content. Hit the bell icon to receive notifications whenever we upload a new video. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the archives of the unknown.